Earlier this week, Funko had officially revealed the San Diego Comic-Con 2025 exclusives. And although there are some good reveals, there of course are the trash reveals, which I'm DK Wrestler, and today I'm going to be ranking every single San Diego Comic-Con 2025 exclusive from the worst and work my way one by one until the best in my opinion. But if you end up enjoying this type of content, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, but nonetheless, let's kick off this video. Starting off with what I believe is the worst set of exclusives this year, the metallic My Melody and metallic Kuromi pops. There's nothing that I dislike more than just seeing same moldings of pops but just adding a different color to it, or in this case, different specification. Up next, I think it's called the Blueprint Batman and Robin. I just feel this is another excuse for Funko to revive the Artist Series lineup. Very lazy variants of pops that weren't necessarily needed, at least in my opinion. The Glitter Huckleberry Hound. When I first saw this reveal, I almost thought that Brian Mariotti was back with Funko, because if you guys remember, Brian Mariotti was a huge fan of Huckleberry Hound, and we used to get exclusives for Huckleberry Hound basically every single Comic-Con while he was still a part of the company. And this is just a regular version of Huckleberry Hound that we've had before, but once again, adding that specification to it that doesn't really make that much sense. The Batman, the Robin, and the Penguin with the clamshell packaging. Now, as you can tell, my camera's off the tripod because I was in the middle of editing this video while it got announced. Now I'm going to incorporate it into this video before I officially publish it, which these pops are okay. I know that a lot of people like these, considering that it's going back to the original Funko Pops, which were called Funko Force, that were packaged in the clamshell style. But to me, it's just taking the regular moldings of these three characters and then just matching them into different packaging. The Fantastic Four Biddy Pops. I guess it is cool that we are getting Biddy Pops that might be a little bit more limited because they are Comic-Con exclusives, but not really a fan of Biddy Pops, which is why they're kind of low on this list. Then we got the Biddy Cities for Mayor Freddy, and we got one for Fire Captain Franny. Not surprised that we're incorporating the Biddy Cities as exclusives, but I do kind of like these a little bit better than the Fantastic Four Biddy Pops. Mayor Freddy was a San Diego Comic-Con exclusive Funko Pop from last year, but the Franny is something that we've not actually seen in the regular 4-inch Pops before, so this is fairly new. The Facet Rocker Barbie for the Retro Toys lineup. Now, normally with stuff like Facet, this would be literally at the bottom of the list, but there is something with the colors involved with this Facet Barbie that actually makes it really nice. Plus, the fact that this is a limited piece count definitely makes sense because not a lot of people are going to want a Facet version of a pop that already exists in the common wave of retro toys. The Fun Force Biddy Pops. Now, although we technically already have 4-inch pops of two of these characters, being the Mecha Freddy that was a part of the Funko Fusion game, and then the Fun Force Freddy that was a part of the Funimation Cosplay Series 1 NFTs, we do have two brand new characters with Fun Force Franny and Fun Force Proto that have yet to be made into the 4-inch pop, which the only teaser we have had of those characters were in the recent Series 2 Funimation cosplay set where they were only cards from Common to Epic. The newer Azrael Batman. Now, this pop is kind of lazy considering the fact that we already had an Azrael Batman for the DC Comics Series 2 NFT set, and this is literally a color switch from that. The Mystery Huckleberry Hound, which has the same molding as the Diamond Collection version, but they are different colors. Now, although I would rank this a little bit lower considering that all it is a color switch and non-Diamond Collection, I like the aspect that we're actually getting very, very, very limited pieces, including 100 pieces that I don't think we've seen since the early 2010s, maybe even 2010 itself. Then we got the Kingdom Come Batman. Pretty cool to see some new variants of Batman that we have yet to have, even though we've had so many Batman pops in the last 15 years already. The Sensational Spider-Man. I do like Spider-Man better than Batman, so that's why it's one spot higher than the Kingdom Come Batman. Stitch on Surfboard from Lilo and Stitch. Now, although I hate seeing these Stitch variants because we have so many Stitch pops already, at least this one is themed with San Diego Comic-Con because not only is it a summer convention, but it's on a surfboard giving that summer vibe, so I'll give it that. The Naruto Uzumaki from Naruto Shippuden. Now, this is an okay pop. I do like the facial expression and especially the posing with the arms and how it's back. The Sketch Deco Voltron Jumbo-chan. Now, I've been a pretty big fan of these Jumbo-chans as of late, although I'll never order one because they are so expensive that it just will take a huge dent out of my wallet. I do like the idea that they made the sketching effect and that it's limited to only 500 pieces. Plus, this is based off the fact that we had a Voltron pop last year at San Diego Comic-Con, and I believe more specifically a sketch deco version for, I believe it was WonderCon earlier this year. So I guess it follows the theme of both of those pops. Herbie from the Fantastic Four First Steps. I'm a little surprised that we're already getting Fantastic Four exclusives for a movie that has yet to release, but it is pretty cool. I remember the Herbie from the original Fantastic Four set, so having one for this specific movie as a Comic-Con exclusive makes sense in my mind. So the next three pops are the X-Men pops with Onslaught, the Gambit, and then the Diamond Collection Dazzler. All three of these pops are pretty sweet. The Onslaught, I thought it was Magneto at first. Maybe it is a different version of Magneto. I don't exactly know. The Gambit looks really nice. And then the only reason Dazzler is the number one pop of these three is because of the fact that they did add a Diamond Collection effect to this pop, and not a lot of Diamond Collection to where it does look really nice. It's not overpowering like a lot of Diamond Collection pops that Funko have made in the past. Buccaneer Shadow from Sonic the Hedgehog. Now this is a pretty cool pop. This goes along with the Treasure Hunter Knuckles, and I'm only assuming that maybe there's one more pop maybe relating to Sonic himself that could go with this theme for New York Comic Con. The Cleaning SpongeBob Pop Premium from SpongeBob SquarePants. Now this is a pretty unique looking pop with the different arms that are attached to SpongeBob, one with a spray bottle, a frying pan, there's even a shell in his hand. There's a lot going on with this pop, and it actually does make sense for the fact that it is a premium because it's going to be bigger than a 4-inch pop. Sam Manson from Danny Phantom. Really awesome to see more Danny Phantom pops because we had the Danny Phantom from New York Comic Con, technically if you count the Freddy Funko as Danny Phantom, and then the last I remember seeing of Danny Phantom pops were the pops featured in the Nickelodeon Series 1 NFTs. So it's not often that we actually have Danny Phantom pops, and I like the fact that we're getting it for a Comic-Con exclusive here, especially with a character that's never had a pop previously. Tengen with his wife's moment from Demon Slayer. Damn, this guy is getting lucky with multiple wives. That's probably illegal in many countries around the world, but the way that this moment looks is pretty cool, and I'm sure a lot of people are going to be getting this, especially if you're a Demon Slayer fan. The Sasuke Susanoo moments from Naruto Shippuden. Now this pop is very detailed. We did get a version of this at WonderCon with a different character, and it was like a blue Susanoo. I don't know if that's what the whole thing is called. I'm assuming that's what it is. Haven't watched Naruto in a long time, so I am literally drawing blanks on this. The Tank Girl with Tank Pop Rides. Now this is very interesting. I never heard of Tank Girl until this reveal. I really like seeing these obscure pops when it comes to Comic-Cons, especially with this Tank Girl. Today I wanted to give a shout out to Sentinel 107. And the reason that they ended up getting a shout out is because they joined our YouTube channel membership, which only cost $1.99 a month. Not only do you get the shout out, but you do get lots of other perks, including early access to every single video and shorts that we produce on this channel. So definitely consider joining our YouTube channel membership. It will be greatly appreciated and it will go a long way of helping out this channel a lot. So definitely consider it, but let's get right back to the video. The Nico Robin with Mini Mary 2 pop rides from One Piece. Now this is a pop that I actually got my prediction right for when it came to these reveals, because of course we had the rides for WonderCon, and I was going to assume that with the 3 different rides that you can see in the Thousand Sunny, one was going to WonderCon, one was going to San Diego, and the other one was going for New York Comic Con in October, and that seems like the trend that's going. The Bing Bong with Speech Bubble from Inside Out. It's actually a little bit surprising that we got an Inside Out pop here instead of Toy Story, considering that Toy Story celebrates its 30th anniversary this year. Although I believe this year does mark 10 years of Inside Out because that movie I believe released in 2015. It is still a pretty decent pop though, especially tugging our heartstrings from a very sad moment in the movie because I believe this is Bing Bong's death scene. So I really like the thought that's put into this, but I think it's literally the fact that this is a speech bubble pop is what makes us lower than it should be. The 10-inch Entei from Pokemon. Now I'm really happy that this pop is happening, and it makes sense because of the Suicune that was announced for WonderCon earlier this year. But when it came to my predictions, I actually got it wrong, where I thought Entei would have been for New York Comic Con and then Raikou was going to be for San Diego Comic Con. But the only reason that it doesn't even make it the number 2 2 spot is because it is a 10-inch pop, and that's going to take a lot of room in people's collections, while I wish they would have just made them as 4-inch pops and you can only get it at the cons. Pingu from, of course, Pingu. I was so hyped when this got announced. They are really pulling on my heartstrings as terms to TV shows that I watched as a kid. The detail of this is really cool, especially with the beak, I believe is still what it's called with the penguin, and especially the piece of paper with the heart on it. The only reason this isn't number 1 is because I don't know how that beak is going to be, because I'm hoping that the beak is kind of extended as if you were to say Newt Newt, which would be really awesome if that's the case, but it's kind of hard to tell right now when the pop is facing forwards. Which leads the final pop and being the best pop of the con, Georgian Von Strangle and Tooth Fairy 2-pack from Fairly Odd Parents. Seeing 2 brand new characters as Comic-Con exclusives is really awesome, and I know that this pop is going to sell very well, maybe one of the only pops that could sell out when it comes to San Diego Comic-Con this year.